What's up, y'all? It's your girl Rhea, and I am back with another video. And today's video is about how to become a real estate agent. So a lot of you guys on Instagram have been asking me, girl, like, how do you become a real estate agent? How did you do it? You didn't even tell nobody that you was taking the exam or you was trying to become a real estate agent. You just popped out and became a realtor. And I wanted to make this video dedicated to my people that want to know how I did it. So it wasn't necessarily a hard process, but it was a very challenging process for me. During the time I got serious about actually becoming an agent and acting on the vision that God gave me, I was pregnant, and I just found out I was pregnant, and I had a few months to take the exam unless I was going to have to take the course all over again. So your girl was going through like a really challenging time, and I was like, you know what? I want this thing bad. Like, God gave me a vision for this thing. I want it bad. So I'm gonna do what I have to do to actually get the license. And it was beautifully chaotic, okay? Like, it was so much to the process, but I'm so grateful that I actually went through the process because it made me appreciate the vision a little bit more, you know? Like, it wasn't easy. The exam was not easy. If you know my story, you know I did not pass it on the first time or the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth. I passed it, I think, after 5 times of taking it. So it was not an easy round. I did not have like just blessings. No, like, it took a while. And even after I got the exam, like, it took me, I can't even remember how many months, but several months to just get my first sale. So that is what this video is gonna be about. I'm gonna give you 5 steps that you'll need in order to actually become an agent. You cannot just walk up and take the exam and think that you're an agent, because it literally doesn't work like that. You actually have to take a course. You then have to pass the course exam, and then you have to take the exam and pass the exam, and then you have to find a brokerage, and then you have to get your license active. So it's a couple steps that you guys will need to know in order to get started in this industry. And I wanted to make this video to make some of those things clear. So let's get right into the video. So step 1 when becoming an agent is to complete your pre-licensing course. This course is a 60-hour course. This course is mainly all like vocabulary. It's a little bit of math in there. It does teach about like your commission split and how to like calculate your commission. The course wasn't bad. I did an accelerated course, so it's fairly easy. It was like quick, but it was all vocabulary. So like, it's not hard at all. Throughout the course, you do take quizzes. My course, we took a quiz every day because we took a quiz on what we learned the previous day, but some of them, they may just make you take a quiz like every week. Quizzes were like 10 questions about the vocabulary words. So the course was not hard at all. You can do the course either online or in person. I think here in Maryland, my course was $200 at the time, but when I like looked it up recently this year, I think it's like $230. So it's not that expensive to actually take the course. The course will prepare you for the exam, but not really. But it is an introduction to real estate and the vocabulary that you'll kind of need. They want you to have for the actual exam, okay? Step 2, pass the class final. So you will take the class final after you've done everything you needed for the actual course. This is basically an overview of the class. This exam kind of prepares you for the national state portion, and you have to pass the class final with a 70 or better. I know at least for Maryland, you have to pass it with a 70 or better in order to even take the national state portion. So if you do fail the class final, you do have to retake the course. I'm not sure how many times they give you to take the class final before you have to retake the course, but I do know that if you don't pass the class final, you will have to go back and retake the 60-hour course and then pass the final. The quizzes that they give you throughout the course is an accumulation of the final for the class. Step 3, take the national and state exam. So this exam is what they also call the salesperson exam. So when you actually register for the exam, it'll say Maryland salesperson exam. It's the same thing as the real estate license or real estate exam. This exam, I think, is between 2 to 4 hours, $44 every time you take it. And your girl knows because I failed 5 times and I had to pay that $44 5 times. And it don't matter if you miss the exam, you got to pay that whole thing all over again. Like, don't miss the exam. Don't be so late to the exam. Like, I think you can't even be late to the exam or like 10 minutes late unless they say that like you missed your shift. So don't be late. And don't miss your exam unless you're gonna have to pay that $44 all over again. But if you don't pass, I do wanna say, if you do not pass on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time, don't feel bad. Most of us agents don't pass anyway on the first time. So like, I thought I was just, dumb when I didn't pass after 5. And it was like, girl, like, most of us don't pass on the first time, okay? First of all, the course that you take and the course's final does not prepare you for the actual exam. I'm gonna just tell you up front right now, it doesn't. The course final or the course exam is really just vocabulary from the class. The actual exam is not just vocabulary. It's not just asking you what does this word mean. It's putting it in context for the actual like scenario that you were supposed to, like you're supposed to go through. It's like one of those scenario like exams. And for me, the scenarios was harder because it's like, first of all, I'm not in the industry, so I don't even know how this word correlates with this. Like that was my like, I think why the exam was so hard for me is because it didn't make sense to what I just learned in the class, okay? So something that I used to help me pass the exam was PrePagent. So PrePagent had the questions or the vocabulary words in context of real estate. So you understood what an easement was, not just because I know the definition, but because I know what it means in regards to a property. You know what I'm saying? So PrePagent helped me like bridge the gap in between understanding what the course was trying to teach me and what the exam is actually saying. And I do have a promo code for PrePagent. It's Sherea Byers, all caps. I will drop that in the link below so that you guys can go and get something off if you guys purchase like one of their packages or something. PrePagent for me was just like my saving grace. Another study tip for the actual exam. This is for my people that don't pass on the first time. When you go in and you take the exam, right, they actually give you like a scrap paper. So write down like a question that you don't know or a word that you don't know, like something that a word comes up and you have no idea what it means. Write it down on your scrap paper. Keep writing them down throughout the whole entire test. At the end of the test, before you go turn in your stuff, this is if you don't pass, before you go turn in your stuff, look at the scrap paper and look at the questions or the words and just try to like memorize them really quick in your head. And the moment that you go to the car, get a notepad, because you can't take the scrap paper with you, but get a notepad and write down what those questions were or what those words were. I actually wrote mine down on the paper that they give you like once you don't pass. I wrote mine down there in like the line or the chapter that they were in, but I would go home and then study that. And the reason why I did it as soon as I got in the car is because you can look at the scrap paper, go home, go eat something, and you forget about it. But if you write it down as soon as you walk out the test, it'll help you. So that is like my little tip of learning how to pass the exam after like 1,000,000,001 times. So I first did PrePagent. PrePagent helped me understand the questions in the context of real estate. And then I would like remember the question and then write it down when I was in the car, okay? So I hope that helps with passing the exam. Girl, I will pray for you. Man, I will pray for you, sir. I will pray for you because it wasn't easy for me, you know, like I'm sorry. Some people do pass on the first time, but that just wasn't my story and I'm sticking to it. But I do know some of the things that helped me actually pass it. So I hope those 2 steps work. Okay, so step 4 would be to choose your brokerage. So a brokerage is basically a place that you're going to hang your license. As an agent, I know, especially here in Maryland, I'm not sure about other states, but you cannot practice real estate unless you are up under a brokerage. And I know that might be confusing because you're like, well, don't I work for myself? Like, aren't I an independent contractor? And technically you are, but your license has to be held with a broker. Don't ask your girl why. I just know that in order to actually practice, you actually have to hold it with a brokerage. So that's what, as soon as you pass the exam, that's what you're going to do. You're going to try to find a brokerage. Now, some people do this before. They like might interview brokerages before they pass their exam. Like, that's cool too, but that's not what I did. I waited till I passed so that when I'm going to them, I'm like, okay, well, I'm an agent, or not. You're not technically an agent yet, but I'm an agent in my own head, and I want to see what you can do for me. So remember when you're going to these brokerages that you don't work for the brokerage. So the brokerage represents you, or basically like they hold your license for you, but you don't work for the broker. So when you're going to interview, you have to see what this brokerage can offer me as the reason as to why I would want to hang my license here. You know, you want to see basically what these brokerages can offer you. Like, what type of trainings do they have? Do they have trainings about a buyer consultation, how to onboard a buyer, a seller's consultation, how to onboard a seller, how to go find these leads? Those are the type of questions that you want to be asking these brokerages, because you need a lot of training to understand what to actually do in the industry. The biggest thing when you're trying to find a brokerage is the atmosphere of the brokerage. Like, what if I walk into this brokerage, do I feel like I could just walk up to somebody and ask them a question about how to write this offer, or what does this part mean in my offer, or my deal is kind of falling through, like, can you help me figure out how to get it back on track? Like, those are some of the things that you're going to want to know and want to just be able to have an atmosphere where you can ask somebody those questions. And your girl is at Harris Hawkins & Co. Shout out to Harris Hawkins & Co. And I'm on a team, the Black Oak Home Group. So I do get that feeling when I come into my brokerage. Like, if I just walk in there anytime I feel like, okay, like, I don't know what this means, can someone help me understand it? Like, even down to my brokers, like, that's the type of relationship that I wanted, and personable relationship that I wanted when I was signing with the brokerage. So you want to watch out for commission, fees, relationships, all trainings, all of those type of things when you're finding a brokerage. But I will do another video on finding a brokerage, because there's so much to that, like learning what the fees are and like what you should be paying. There's so much to finding a brokerage that I'll do a whole video on finding or choosing the right brokerage for you. Step 5 will be to apply to get your license active. So when you get your license put in active status, that is you basically saying that you've already chosen a brokerage and this is where you're choosing to hang your license. This is when you can actually help people buy or sell. So this is why I say it's 5 steps. You would think that after you pass the exam, you are an agent. Not really, because and especially here in Maryland, you have to hang your license with a brokerage. And after you sign all your like papers, your affiliation, like paperwork with your brokerage, you have to then register to get your license active. Here in Maryland, you do it through the Maryland Department of Labor. It's $90 initially, and then if you want to change, like I know I changed my brokerages 3 times, so every time I had to change my brokerage, I paid $25, not the initial $90. But if you want to change where you're hanging your license, you have to pay $25 fee. This step, I think it takes like a week to get processed. You just register online, and then they send you like an email with your basically your real estate license number, and I think maybe like a login information or something like that. But after that, you're officially an agent. Welcome to the industry, and let's make some money and let's help people get into these houses. Okay, so that is basically what it's going to be when you're trying to become an agent. There are 5 steps. You would think that you can just go up to the exam centers and just be like, hey, I want to be an agent, let me take this exam. No, baby, you're gonna have to, number 1, take the course. Number 2, pass the course exam. Number 3, actually pass the national and state exam, which is, and then number 4, you have to find a brokerage. And then 5, you have to actually get your license active to actually help people. So I hope this video helped you guys. I hope I gave y'all all the steps. I hope you understand what those steps are. I will do in-depth videos about the bigger sections like the actual exam and the brokerage. But if you guys have any questions about anything that I've said, please just leave them in my comments. And yeah, I'll be back with another video.